Welcome to Healthy Conversations, sharing the knowledge, experience, stories, and the wisdom of herbalists and other natural healers, with your host, Stephen Horn. Today's guest, Winifred Adams. Hi, and welcome again to Healthy Conversations. With me today is Winifred Adams, herbalist, healer, musician, jeweler, woman of many talents and abilities, and we're going to talk today about how we can use gemstones to help us with all of the energies we're confronted with. I mean, I think electromagnetic pollution is one of the big things that's affecting people's health negatively. What do you think?
Well, thank you, Stephen, for having me on, and nice to see you again. This is wonderful to be here, so thank you very much. We're definitely in a trying time right now regarding EMFs, and when I started creating jewelry in the line for my Quantum Love Rocks line, it's really all about EMFs. It's about helping people stave off and protect their heart space and protect their heart center and their brain, because it's coming at us from every direction. Even the earth is pulsing, and we have extra gamma rays. So, we're just either going to evolve or we're going to dissolve, one or the other.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about how, when radio was first invented, you had a few radio stations and you had TV stations. Now you have cell phones and the 5G towers, but you also have all of the Wi-Fi going on and all the Bluetooth, and we're immersed in it every day, always. And I don't think it's been adequately studied as how it affects our health.
Well, I don't think we have all those results in, but we can certainly seem to feel it. I know that as a healer and a practitioner, that we're having people come in with all kinds of different things. And so hence the bombardment. But how do we protect ourselves? We have all kinds of amulets now and pendants that we're wearing. So I decided to create jewelry that is based on my favorite stone, which is tourmaline. And tourmaline is one of the most broad spectrum stones in all of the gem semi-precious stone kingdom. And I love tourmaline. I have my bracelets of tourmaline. They're like my superpower.
Like protecting you against but it's protecting against the radiation.
But the truth is it's actually incoming, right? So the left side incoming on this wrist, right? And so I have all the multicolors of tourmaline on this one, which is actually, it can double up as a necklace. It can be worn on your wrist. It can be worn down long over your heart, especially for flyers, for people that fly, and that was the purpose. And then I have the other one on the outgoing, right? So it's interesting. I've always seen stones as a means of vectoring and interfacing with energy fields, and that's been something I've done even before I got into healing. Technically, I was already doing this, and it was probably a past life thing, but I came in doing this, and I have felt very strongly we're coming to a time where we need to be wearing whatever we can to protect ourselves, because our biology is being bombarded. We have no choice. Yeah, so why not make it look lovely?
That's a good idea. I mean, we are electromagnetic beings. I mean, our whole body is not just operating with chemicals, but it's also operating with frequencies and electromagnetic signals and electromagnetic fields. And I know when I first got introduced to Wayne Cook's diodes, which were just little copper things, and by Jack Richardson, and I thought, if this is just a lucky rabbit's foot, I'll try it, and so I got some, and I put one on my computer, and I put one in my pocket, and it seemed to help. I thought, well, okay, if it helps, that helps. But I wasn't sure how valid it was. And then later, one day I was working on the computer, and I just got really foggy in the head. And I thought, I haven't felt like this since I started wearing the diode. And I know I have my diode, and I reached down and tapped my left pocket, and it wasn't there. I put it in my right pocket. Like you said, the energy comes in the left and goes out the right. So I was blocking it moving through me.
Right.
And I felt horrible. And so I stuck it in the other pocket, walked around the building, came back, and I was clear-headed again. And that's what made me think, hey, there is something to this. There is
Uh,
something to that this is affecting us. And I think it's really interesting that you have decided to use it as a point of jewelry instead of like
yeah, I
clunky
love doing
little.
it. I really do. I mean, I even have tourmaline earrings on right now. Now they're, albeit they're in very, very thin, tiny hoops, but the tourmaline hangs down in just the right way. And, of course, anyone looking says, oh, well, that's really lovely. That's not how I think about it when I design. I really don't. I think about it like, okay, for how long, how far down does that come underneath the ear? And like, are we somewhere dangling from the jawline to the thyroid? And how does that hit the lymph system? I'm literally thinking in terms of healing as I'm creating and gauging that. So I'm even thinking in terms of how much metal and what kind of metal is around the stone and how much is the stone exposed. So everything I'm doing is really based on kind of not just aesthetic, but the harmony of design so you get the most energy out of the stone as it comes along. Like I created this ring long ago, and this is a really big stone, okay? This is kind of one of those monster stones, but it works in this setting. It's not too thick, as you can see. It's not too fat and thick and everything, but the stone is really showcased, so it makes it look twice as big.
Uh huh.
But the energy of the stone is free to come out. A lot of people hide things. They hide the stones. They encase it in metal quite a bit. I like to showcase it. I really do, or amplify it with the correct stones around that center stone. So I get really excited to create things for people.
Can you give us some success stories you've had with clients with this
My
stuff?
gosh, I've had ever since I started. That's how I even decided to continue to do that, because people came to me. This is before medical intuition was a word. It's before healer was in my ballpark. This started early, and I just had a draw to it. I didn't even know what I didn't know, and so I just started to put things together. And people would say, "Gosh, do you think you can help somebody?" I said, "I think I can. I can feel this, and if I put this together with this and these tones with this, that's going to help you." Then I had to look up backwards why it would help them. I just could feel it. And then
Uh
it
huh.
did. And so people began to collect this over the years, and they began to collect like a series, different estate pieces, if you will. I would make these and work with them. And I mean, really focus, contemplate, like art, like, okay, what does this person need? And it would work. Their headaches would go away. They would feel like they had a flow where their hands were cold. They would start to feel circulation. I had those. People would say, now, obviously, women love jewelry, that they felt happier, but I think it was actually a heart opening. So, depending upon where the piece was or how it was situated for them, and like you said, where the block comes in to their body. So, I could see that. And I could say, okay, we need to do this and this for this person. And that's where it all began. To be honest with you, that's how I started doing healing work, sight unseen. I would get letters in the mail. I would be in my college dorm room and I'd get letters and I'd be like, oh, I need to work on this person. And then I would create it and then send it to them. I'd never even see them. I'd never speak to them. I just get it by
Oh,
letter.
wow.
So it
I
was,
think you told me one time a story of someone who was traveling a lot. I mean, and making something that helped him with the jet travel. Because I know a lot of people experience like
the jet lag.
I
That's what
feel a
you're,
horrible thing with jet lag when I travel, especially now that I'm 70 years old. I don't handle it as well as I did when I was younger.
I know. We're coming upon that place where it's like, okay, what can we use not only to stave off all the extra energy, but to actually hold our own frequency.
Uh
And
huh. Yeah. Go on.
so the frequency needs to be kept and vectored from within. So yes, I've worked with several people now that travel, and really what I'm finding now versus like when I started is because the energies are different, it takes a different vectoring. Like it's now more about the person themselves and pulling their energy higher and higher and higher to get their energy back into where it needs to be so that we have not this dissipation of energy. That's what I'm seeing more of. Where in the past, let's say 10 years ago, okay, it was not as intensive. But since the 5G came in and started to really amp up, it's almost like, how do we grab the person's soul frequency and amplify their frequency more so than pushing things out of them?
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I want to comment on, because I know a lot of people think like crystals are, I mean, I'm no expert on crystals, but I think they're kind of woo. But I point out, like, quartz crystals were used in old-fashioned record players because when the needle would squeeze the crystal, it would give off an electrical current. They were also used in little radio sets for radio reception and everything. So in many ways, the whole Silicon Valley thing, silicon chips, is basically using a kind of a micro crystal to work with things. So I'm not as intuitive as you, but I do have the ability to kind of feel energy, and I know when I have taken some crystals and just run them like this with my hand, I can feel where it is, and I can feel an effect from it. So they do have an energy about them.
Each one has a different frequency, and when you're drawn to a certain color, you're also being called to come into a space of what's best for you, how you actually are working with what's needed. So with what's needed, you're coming into a space of, I had a woman once, for example, she came in and she was going to do some modeling for me, and she chose blue topaz.
Oh, yeah?
And then I said, yeah, okay. So I asked her a little bit about her countenance and, her body systems and all that. And then I had some others come in, and each one was drawn to whatever it is they needed. At the same time, they thought it was beautiful. So that's the first feeling people have, is you're drawn to what your body zones in on, and you think it's pretty. But in fact, if you dig into that, you start to learn that your body's calling for it. And just like with a crystal quartz tuning bowl, because those are the ovens in which microchips are grown and born, they have a frequency, and you can play them now. You can hear that. But like in old watches, they used rubies to help keep time and keep the electrical current flowing. So all precious and semi-precious stones have a frequency, and when you combine the frequencies for the person just so, it really makes a difference. I've had so many people come back and tell me of a simple ring that we made, wow, this feels so good. And they aren't coming back saying, oh, this is so beautiful. They come back to me and they say, this feels so good. That's all that matters to me. It's like giving birth and creating children, and they go out to the right home. And so they do their job.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing these insights with us, Winifred. I think it's really fascinating. I've seen some of your jewelry, and it's really interesting. If any of you would like to get a hold of Winifred, and we'll have her contact information in the links below, and maybe you can get her to make a custom piece of jewelry or some of the tourmaline for you if you're feeling the effects of electromagnetic radiation. And thank you, Winifred, for being with us today and sharing your expertise and insight.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and it's nice to be back with you. Go
Yep.
Jolly.
Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to catch future episodes of Healthy Conversations. Help us educate others by sharing this video, and please feel free to share your own thoughts, comments, and questions below. To learn more, check out the links below.